what it makes me think of is another song that you put out with the Spirit of the Father. And I
Mm.
think Jordan Peter, there's two songs actually. It's Spirit of the Father, and I don't remember the exact title, but the Node in the Network, right? That's what got me to actually start
Hmm.
my podcast. When I really saw the power of responsibility, because when most people say responsibility, it's like you better, do this and do that. It's like, no, responsibility is seeing the effect that you have on everybody. Because for so long, I was trying to understand the paradox of you don't matter, you're just a speck of dust, you're nothing, you're insignificant. And the other side of I'm so significant, I'm so important, I will save the world, and how to balance those both. And I couldn't, because I would be like, yeah, it would be this ego that I'm so important. And then I would just be like, I'm just insignificant. It doesn't matter. And I would connect with different people. And now when I heard the Node in the Network, I just said, that makes sense. It's just a matter of business. Everything you do matters, not from an egotistical standpoint, but that it just ripples in ways. And,
It
and
just
then,
does matter. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it
the
just,
that's
yeah. And,
that's the butterfly effect. We know that with everything. But the point is
yeah,
like everything you do matters, but if you're not acting with a definiteness of purpose, then what you do, which matters, can be catastrophic. If you're out there flailing around like without a purpose, without a reason of being, without having mastered yourself and programmed yourself, you're a fucking danger. Because like if you don't program yourself, somebody else will.
mm,
So then you're like a fucking creepy bot in someone else's army. You're a tool in someone else's plan. But if you haven't made yourself, if you haven't tooled yourself up into that fine machine that you can be, you know what I mean? You're a clumsy ox of a moron. If you think about everyone as a kind of like mech suit or something, right? And I had this like idea of like turning yourself into the ultimate sort of mech suit and then turning that over to God, right? And then God can use you to do
yeah,
great things. Stevie Wonder always talks about how he doesn't write his songs, God writes them through him. He just made himself competent enough to play those songs. And then he handed himself over to God, you know? If that's kind of what everybody's doing, uh, if your mech suit is rubbish and you haven't been looking after it and you haven't trained it, it's like a fucking big baby with guns or something, you know? And if that thing is then like being controlled by others because you haven't bothered to take control of yourself and take responsibility for this crazy thing. It's like, you know, a car is a crazy dangerous thing. If people don't know how to drive, if you've got like drunk morons just fucking playing bumper cars, you know what I mean? Like that's a nightmare. And that's the situation you find yourself in if you're in a society where people aren't taking control of themselves and taking responsibility for themselves.